Alright, guess what I'm going to make today? It's going to be really good, and people have been begging for it for a long time, even though they never had it before. It's going to be my smothered oxtails. So let me show you what I've started already. Hold on. Here I have my flour, in which I'm going to coat my oxtails with. What I did was put about a cup to 2 cups of flour. I put some seasoning salt, coarse black pepper, cumin, just a pinch of cumin because cumin is so strong. I put some curry powder, granulated garlic, what else did I put in there? A little bit of onion salt, and just a touch of sage. About, I guess, equals out to about a teaspoon, I guess. All right, next part. Okay, so everything is assembled except for the oxtails, which I'm going to leave in the refrigerator till I need to put them in. So I've been assembling my ingredients, and once again, here is the full package. As you see, the celery, more bell peppers, more onions, and of course, the secret, Corona Bear. Oh, so I have about 5 pounds of oxtails here. So this is kind of doubling my recipe here. So what I usually cook is whatever I feel about having, as far as how much veggies and stuff that I can add to my meal. So, if you're just going to do about 2 pounds, then, you know, cut what I have in half. I'm not going to be using all these bell peppers. Probably about, these aren't too large, so probably about 6 or 7, because I really love them and really love celery, so I'm going to use lots and lots of celery. And scratch that on the bay leaves too, by the way. All right, so I'm getting ready. I'm going to unpackage the oxtails here, and I'm going to season them with the ingredients that I have here. So here we have the oxtails. I rinsed them. Always rinse my meat, whatever I'm cooking, before I season them. Sometimes I even give them a bathing of vinegar. I don't have to do this time because the meat will be tenderizing and breaking down because of the beer. So let's get a seasoning. Alright, so let's get a seasoning. Got some cumin. Just light sprinkles all over everything. Nothing too serious. And when I'm doing cumin, it's a little strong for me. So basically, I'm just going to do one side. All right. Some onion powder. You gotta love Morton's seasoning, all season salt. We love that stuff. And that will be actually the only thing with salt that I season with. I mostly season with just spices. So we got that all over there. Yay! And of course, the granulated garlic. Kirkland, go Costco. I'm not being afraid. Garlic is your best friend. Even though I generally only use this when I'm cooking pork. Let's go ahead and put a little bit of curry powder on there. Curry always sweetens the meat, so here we go. I'm not going to be as generous with the curry, just a light sprinkling there. Yay. So once again, flipping them over. Generous. This time I'm starting out with the garlic powder. Love the stuff. A little bit of curry. Love you, curry. And seasoning salt. Make it rain. Alright, y'all, you need flavor. If you don't have flavor, you're not going to want to eat whatever you're cooking. So definitely pour in the flavor. And still not sure on back thought whether I'm going to add the bay leaves, but we'll talk about that later. Alright, so with all the extra there that's on the side, I can move these, sort of get the side pieces that didn't get any sprinkling of seasoning. Just move them on in there. Hit those sides. And if you feel like the sides didn't get enough seasoning, then go ahead and just sprinkle some more of your seasoning on the side. So remember, this seasoning, how you season these and all these oxtails now, is going to be the precursor and the secret to a great sauce, or gravy as you want to call it, because the extra flour you're going to be using to make your gravy as well. Alright, so we're about ready to sear, flour, fry, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to smother these oxtails. I'm going to dip them in the flour. I have a little bit of vegetable oil in there. I guess you can use whatever oil that you're comfortable with. And so I'm ghetto. And just flouring. Doing it again. So the whole point, we're not trying to cook it. We're just searing it, trying to get some of that, create some gravy here. I find if you're using a crock pot like I'm using, that it's a lot easier to cook the big pieces of the oxtail first. So that you can put them in the pot evenly. And I'm just going to let those cook for about a couple minutes or a minute on each side. So I flipped them over, getting a little bit of the sides, and then we're just going to place that Got it all cooking. Got the second batch, and as you can see, it's pretty full in there. But I'm just going to end up stacking because I have no choice. I could have used a flatter pan, but we'll make do with what we have. Awesome. And as you can see, I have the little pieces right in here, and I'm going to bathe them in their powder, put those in last, and there we go. All right, look at there. About so much flour to be used. All that stuff on the plate, and my goodness, I think my eyes got too big. But what I'm hoping is going to happen is that all the meat will cook down from the pot, and I'll have room for all my vegetables and beer and what have you. So now that all that's done, what I'm going to do is put the crock pot onto its cooker. So you're going to set this aside and just let it sit there for later, because you're going to add that so you can get a thickness to your gravy. Why waste extra flour and seasoned flour and all that when you can add it to your pot mixture to make a great gravy to go over rice or have you. So it's about noon right now. This baby is probably going to cook till at least 8 or 10 o'clock tonight. All right. And so I'm going to get chopping on my vegetables, and I'm going to add about half a cup of water with some beef broth, unless I can find my beef drippings. All right, here we go. I have some Weiler's beef granules, which I'm going to add to the cup here. I think that's about enough to start with. And I'll grab a fork here. Oops. Sorry about the visual. Stir that up in there. Let's pour it into the mixture, or the oxtails, I should say. Yay! And let's get to cutting them up. Cut up them veggies. Okay, so you see all my bell pepper is chopped up. I have 2 of my little beers. These are little mini Ronas. I use those because I cook my ribs in beer, and so that helps to make sure that I don't use too much beer, more than I need. So let's go ahead and put these into the pot. So what I neglected to say is that I have my pot on high. This is old school. My parents had this ever since I was a little kid. The top has broken off here. So let's take that off. A little bit of heat. Let's pour in some beer. Yay! Beer. Gotta love the beer. Yes. 1. Beer. Yay. As you can see, not quite all the way up to the middle. I don't want to put too much liquid in there because all that has to cook down, and what I usually do is crook the pot a little bit so that some that steam can get out of there and it can cook down some more. So let's go ahead and add some of those bell peppers. Melt away. Yay. Alright, since I'm doing all this one-handed and I don't want to make a big mess, I'm going to pause. So my pot is pretty full as it is. I don't have that much space at all. So I'll cut up my onions and celery and see how much I can get in here. And I'll let it all cook down for an hour or so and then see what else I can add. So I diced up the onions, got a mix of the purple and the white. They're both sweet onions, and we're going to dip them, or pour them into the pot. Into the pot you go. Yay! As you can see, filled to the brim. But all that will cook down, and I'll be able to add my other ingredients, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So I forgot to tell everybody that I chopped up the green onions with the celery and I deposited them on top. It's 1:53 right now, so it's been almost a couple hours and still waiting on stuff to cook down a little bit more. And let's see how much liquid is in there and move around the food. So I'm scooping and moving everything around and getting it a little bit deeper, mixing the vegetables in here. So we're adding the beer. And I'll actually add a little bit of the flour in there. I'm not going to put it all in there because I'm not sure how much I need. Mix that in a little bit. And here we go. So I have the heat not totally high, but we're gonna turn it down a little bit, at least wait till it gets a little bit more boily because I just put the beer in there. And then we'll just let it do its thing, wait another hour, possibly add some more onions and bell pepper and see what's happening. So looky there. We need to add some Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce. Let's add some to this baby. Yes. Yes. I think that's about enough. Feels like enough. Bam! So I'm a little lazy, so I used the matchsticks carrots to put in here. So let's open up that pot, and as we can see, things are cooking down. OMG, I have space. So space means more tibbles. Let's put some carts. Put some carts in there. Not a whole bunch. I'm only putting about a half cup worth. Okay, it's 4 o'clock. Let's take that top off and see what it looks like. Yes, it's going to be falling off the bones yet. Still a little too early. It's only been 4 hours. And as you can see, it is getting along there. So I like a thick gravy sauce, and as you can see, it's still kind of loose up there. So I'm Let's go ahead and add some more of that extra flour that I have in there. Thicken up that gravy so I can have something nice to pour over that rice. Thicken. Okay, so it's 7 o'clock. Look at that. Doesn't it look so good? Gravy all up in there. Its consistency is getting a lot better. The meat hasn't come off the bone yet, so because the meat hasn't come off the bone, that means it's still got to cook. It's still got cooking to do. Still got about medium high, so I can make sure that cook down all those juices.